DL Trader here with today's trade recap, Thursday the 2nd of May. Much more active day. It was really nice actually to have a lot more in play, a lot more to trade. Felt good, and for the most part I did trade pretty well. Actually traded some really nice setups. Felt like it was some of the best trading I've done for a while, but also did make some big mistakes and cost me. So I'll run over each trade as I do, and we'll digest the errors, try and not make those tomorrow. First, so overall there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tickers I took today. So the first I'll run through in order of getting into the trade. So the first trade I got into is NSPR. We had a gap up. Didn't touch it pre-market. We had a washout at the open, and then a really strong rip. So I was getting short, risking just above high of day. We had this resistance. It was a big pop. Popped on the Momo scanner, so I got short into the rip for downside. Started in half, got to full size, and then stopped out. So I'm fairly happy with this trade. It was a loser, probably a little bit too premature with the ad. I could have let it test high of day before the ad, so I'd only risk half an hour. But if it did reject, you'd want to be in full size. So happy with that trade. After I stopped out, I got back in again, which is this one. This stage, let me just check. I believe so. No, here I was only in half size, so I was actually in quarter to half. But because of the range, I did hit 1R. And then when I got in short again, it was quarter size. And then I took it off. So probably my mistake here is in the second entry, the second attempt short. I didn't allow the same risk that I did in the first attempt. So got short, probably could have got an ad with a little bit more risk, and then would have nailed the trade. So for me, the error here is, I'm comfortable with that loss for the first one. On the second trade, it stopped too tight. Need to give it a bit more room. Second trade I got in on was ABIO. This was the one that I screwed up today pretty badly. It's a higher price stock with my risk profile. It's tricky to trade. And in hindsight, I could have traded it better. I really should have traded this parabolic here with tight risk, perhaps a 19.5 entry risking 20. But instead I took this approach where I take an entry, cover most of the shares into the wash as a scalp, and leave a very small portion on for a move lower. Now I got the move, but unfortunately I screwed up the order, and I actually covered all the shares. So I was a little bit annoyed with that, because it would have been a good trade, because I would have been able to cover the rest down here. Ended up actually with just one share, which is a bit weird, but so be it. So after this, what I was thinking was, okay, well, let's just see what it does. Let's get in on the next bounce, and try and ride this out. It's up a lot. It's day 2. Let's see if it is tank day, then I want to be part of it. So it's kind of FOMO trading. So I got in on this bounce and then stopped out. And because this was another block order of 100 shares, and it was a pretty decent rip, I did take a pretty hefty loss. And then it did this stuff move, so I got back in short. This time trimming that, most of that order, leaving a portion on, then I got add to the winner, and then stopped out. So this is really bad, nasty trading. It's not my setup. It's FOMO. It's and it cost me quite a lot today. So it's going forward, I'm going to just avoid it. If it's too high a price and I can't deal with the risk, I'm going to leave it alone. But having said that, there's looking back, there's no reason why I can't trade my setup on this share, on, you know, with my current risk profile, I can afford to take this trade. So pretty annoyed with ABIO today. And, you know, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's pretty much grinded all day. So, you know, we'll see if it comes up tomorrow for a day 3. Next trade was YRIV. Momo scanner, shorted into the rip, parabolic, got a really good entry and add. And then covered into the wash, added on the pop, and then stopped out when it was, felt like it was grinding up and holding EMAs. So perfectly acceptable, nice trade. My error on this one is sizing. I just took nowhere near enough shares. I believe I took a quarter size entry here, and then I didn't even get another quarter on, so I wasn't even up to a third size. So I'm paying to locate all those shares, and I'm only taking a third size. So it was a small win, should have been a big win. But the good thing is I'm shorting the rip, washing, covering on the bounce, covering in the washout, adding on the bounce, and then correctly exiting the trade when it's starting to hold trend. While the next trade, PRPO. PRPO is actually one of my better winners today. Pretty happy with how I traded this because I didn't get freaked out. I got to, you know, after the last few trades, I was like, right, let's get to full size. So I got this, I believe, this entry here, and then these adds. So ended up at full size, got a really nice cover into this wash. Was looking for that bounce to get the ad back on, just didn't come. Considered this wash for an exit, but you know, it's only just done this move. It's up along the daily chart, so you're going to try and ride this out, see if it can break previous close. Considered an ad back on this, but decided to leave it alone and then exit it once it started to pop and hold EMAs. Now, pretty happy with that exit. You know, it's a good risk reward on the trade, about 3R, and I didn't want to bounce back and give up the gains. Yeah, it popped lower, but for me, that's a good exit. Would have had to wait a whole, you know, 3 more hours for a move lower. So good win today on PRPO, and the reason for that trade is that getting to full size with a good entry and good ads, risking high of day. Next trade, and I think that wraps them up. It's DFFN. Yeah, so really happy with DFFN. I mean, I've just got back to the screens. I left, and now I'm seeing this move, you know, all the way up here. So I couldn't be happy with my exits and deciding to just trade that morning session. So got short in the morning parabolic, risking high of day. Got an ad, bit of a chase ad down here, but I was, you know, just trying to focus on getting to full size. And as I put that out, I did reduce my risk to here. Now, as this was such a chase, I did cover this wash here, and then was testing it for a bounce. Felt like it failed, so added some on, and then just decided to stop out. So I think this one, you know, was small green, but you know, I'm happy with it. I worked hard to get to full size. I stopped out correctly, traded my pan, and you know, it could have held this and gone way lower, so would have been perfect. So this is what I did really well, was just be patient after this stop out, let it set up again. Something I've been working on is avoiding this, you know, this move after the short setup has failed. Got a really nice entry on this one into the rip, which allowed me to get some ads. Perhaps a little premature with this first wash, but it was a quarter size. Next quarter off here, and then after the failed bounce, got those ads on, reducing the risk down, and then really trying to be patient with this one, but accepting, you know, that I've got to lock in the gains when it looks like the trend's over. And for me, that was a pretty good exit when those EMAs are holding. Yeah, it popped a little bit lower, but I could have potentially stopped out on this spike. So overall, another 3-to-1 risk on this trade, so really happy with that. So good to see some progress in my trading on the on today, and we'll see how this can go. See how we can do tomorrow. Cheers.